All right. The old fella's back again. Yes, Accordion Cool. Couldn't find my sunglasses. So, well, we'll just persevere without them today. Back in the studio, and today is just no real theme or anything. I just picked a bunch of tunes that, some I hadn't played for a while, and some I kind of like. And what the heck? Let's just throw these out back there and see what happens. And of course I already gave apologies to Austin because I missed his birthday, which was, about 8 days, 10, I don't know, it was the 29th of November anyway, so whenever this show is shown. So a belated happy birthday to Austin. He does such a great job here. If I look good at all, it's the young man, and I mean young man behind the glass that's responsible. So that first tune was called Wonderful, 1921. Written by whichever Gershwin writes all the tunes, George or Irish, maybe Ira, maybe both of them, from a play called Funny Face. It was made into a movie, and even today, 100 years later, you can sometimes find that movie. Well, the movie wasn't made 100 years ago, but sometimes today you can find that movie on the old T&V, if you're not watching Accordion Cool, that is. So it's wonderful, it's marvelous to be here with you. So I figured that was kind of appropriate. All right, enough for the schmaltz. Our second tune was called Once in a While. This is an old standard, kind of a jazz standard. 1937 it was written. And actually, in 1960, one of the doo-wop groups did a doo-wop recording of this song. I don't really remember that particular recording, and I'm probably just as happy that I didn't. So little tune, Once in a While. Here we go. Once in a while, once in a while. Well, our next tune is kind of a pretty ballad. This tune was written in 1935. I don't think it was written for a show or anything. Somebody just wrote the tune. Now, do you remember the old All in the Family show, Archie Bunker and Edith? Well, if you recall, Edith could play the piano, and she considered herself quite a vocalist. And she was going to perform a particular tune. And Archie asked her what it was, and she said, Funny Butt. And, of course, Archie, knowing that you never knew what was coming out of Edith's mouth, just kind of let it go by. And through the whole show, she's saying she's going to play Funny Butt. So finally, Archie said, Edith, what's Funny Butt? Well, she says, well, you know, he says, the song, I'm in the mood for love, funny butt when you're near me. So the song, obviously, I'm in the mood for love. I think I've been playing this song for as long as I've been playing this type of music. I think I was playing this song before I even went to Berkeley back in the early 60s. Yes, it's been that long, but pretty tune, Funny Butt, or I'm in the mood for love. Funny, bro. I mean, I'm in the mood for love. Pretty tune. You may have noticed a little bit in that tune. I kind of played a little different. A lot of chords in the right hand. And when I first, you know, was studying and studying these songs, I played a lot of them like that. And then that just kind of has stuck in my head for this particular tune. A lot of chord work in the right hand. But then I was able to mess with it a little bit. So anyway, that's done. This next tune, 1967, by my favorite Latin composer, and I love saying his name, Antonio Carlos Jobim. Antonio Carlos Jobim. He was part of that whole big Latin invasion in the 60s. Girl from Ipanema, Meditation, all those great tunes. But this is probably my favorite of all of those tunes. Little more difficult to play than some of the others, but I always liked this tune. So from 1967, and of course it was from Brazil, so it was a bit, all the words were in Portuguese, and so when it got to America around 1969, they actually translated it somehow into English. I have no idea what the words mean, but the song is called Wave. So here we go. Wave. I remember a few years ago I was doing a gig in Alabama, and Miss Ernestine was with me, and she walked up with a kind of a puzzled look on her face. She had been speaking with a lady, and she says to me, "Do you know a song called Wave?" And I said, "Oh my goodness." That was, I think, the first and only time I ever got a request to play the song, because while you may have heard it, you know, you probably don't know the name is Wave. And for somebody to actually know the tune and know the name and request it, I almost fell on the floor, which I'm good at, by the way. I'm real good at that. So Wave, Antonio Carlos Jobim. Well, I'm going to move on to our next tune. From 1964, written by a Frenchman named Michel Legrand. And it was from a, I think it was a movie called it was some type of project. Pretty sure it was a French movie called The Umbrellas of Cherbourg. And the reason I'm playing this tune today, that it came to mind, is as we taped this show about 2 or 3 weeks ago on TV, Tony Bennett and Lady Gaga performed for Tony's 95th birthday. And of course, you know, they did, you know, the San Francisco, Fly Me to the Moon, all the ones that Tony did. And then he sang this one. I'm saying, oh my goodness, and I never realized Tony Bennett sang this song, but it's called, you gotta look closely now, because you gotta watch what happens. So here we go. Watch what happens. You gotta watch and see what happens. Nice tune, nice tune. I used to do that as kind of a Latin And I think I like it better. And let's ask you folks over here, what do you think, Latin or straight? And yeah, I think the audience, the studio, our vast studio audience agrees that they kind of like it, like in a nice swing and 4/4. So I'll keep doing it that way. Well, it's getting down towards the end of our time today. Our last tune was written in 1940. And it was written for a show which premiered in 1941 called Ziegfeld Girls. Never heard much about it, never heard any other tunes from that show, so I would imagine if it premiered in 1941, it probably closed in 1941. But this, I think, was one of Art Van Dam's, who? Art Van Dam, you never heard me? Yeah, you've heard me mention Art Van Dam. He was the pioneer of all this jazz accordion stuff, and a great player. But this is on a few of his albums, so I think he kind of liked this tune. It's called "You Stepped Out of a Dream." Now that I can give you a lot of connotations, so let's see what it sounds like. You stepped out of a dream. Well, speaking of Art Van Dam, which I guess I was, the right way I got to know him is we were both playing the same accordion, not the actual, but the same model accordion, back where some of these songs were written. And the fellow that owned the company, his name was Joe Zonfrili. And so one day, I was down in New Jersey, which is where the company was located, and doing something, and he looked at me. And at that time, I used to wear, have the accordion very low on me. And he said, he says, the only person I've ever seen that wears the accordion that low is Art Van Dam. Which I immediately replied, and that is right where the what's the word I want? That's where the connection ends. You know, I may wear the accordion is low, but I will never play like the great Art Van Dam. But you know, it was just an honor to know him, so well, you know, I want to thank you all as usual for watching our little escapade today, and of course Austin behind the glass doing his great job as usual. And I say every week, bring those young uns in, especially some of these tunes today, which I haven't played in quite a while, just to hear the music, like it's like when Tony Bennett and Lady Gaga were on. You know, it was nice to turn on the T&V and see some actual real music. So let's take it home. Oh, how about stepping out of a dream a little bit more? Here we go.